In a world where people scroll instead of speak, rush instead of listen, and pass by instead of pause, sometimes it takes the smallest voice to remind us what it truly means to be human. This is the story of a child whose smile healed a town that had forgotten how to care. A boy named Leo, who reminded everyone of humanity. The town of Graybridge sat quietly between two hills, peaceful but tired. Once, it was filled with laughter, open doors, and warm Sunday mornings.
But over the years, something had changed.
The laughter faded. Neighbors stopped greeting each other. Everyone was busy, too busy. Shops opened late and closed early. Children hurried home from school. The sound of joy had been replaced by the sound of silence. Then, one chilly morning, a moving truck stopped by an old blue house at the edge of town. Out came a small family, a mother, a father, and a boy no older than 7. The boy's name was Leo Carter, small, bright-eyed, and full of questions about everything. He waved at every person who passed by. No one waved back. The old woman across the street shut her curtains. The mailman barely nodded. But Leo just smiled wider and whispered to himself, "Maybe they're just shy." That night, as he looked out the window, he told his mother, "Mom, everyone here looks sad. Maybe I can help them smile again." His mother chuckled softly. "That's a big job, little one." Leo grinned. "Then I'll start small." A few days later, Leo wandered toward the old stone bridge. It was cracked and weathered, just like the man sitting on it, Mr. Harlan. Mr. Harlan had once been the town's best carpenter, but after his wife passed, he stopped building, stopped talking, even stopped caring. He came to the bridge every day, just to sit in silence. Leo approached holding a paper boat. "Hi, sir. Do you like boats?" The old man grunted. "No." Leo thought for a moment. "Maybe you like this one. It sails even in sad water." Mr. Harlan blinked. "Sad water?" Leo nodded. "Water that doesn't move. It's like people who forget to smile." Mr. Harlan stared at him for a moment. Then, for the first time in years, he smiled faintly. "All right, little sailor. Let's see if your boat can float." They set the paper boat in the stream. It drifted slowly beneath the bridge. Leo clapped.
"See?
Even sad water can move when you give it something kind." Mr. Harlan chuckled. "You talk like an old man." Leo grinned. "That's what my mom says too." From that day, Leo came to the bridge every afternoon, bringing new paper boats with drawings, names, and wishes written on them. Be kind. Keep smiling. Build again. Each time, the old man laughed a little more. Each time, the world felt a little brighter. One rainy morning, Leo ran past Keller's bakery, the once famous shop now nearly empty. Through the fogged glass, he saw Mrs. Keller, the baker, sitting with her head in her hands. He pushed open the door. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Startled, she wiped her tears. "Oh, it's nothing, dear. Just hard days." Leo looked around the empty shelves and frowned. "Your shop smells happy," he said. She blinked. "Smells happy?" He nodded. "Like my grandma's kitchen. People should smell this happiness." That night, Leo drew a picture of the bakery, glowing, full of smiling customers, and wrote underneath, "Don't give up. The world still needs your sweetness." He taped it on her window before sunrise. By noon, people stopped to look at the drawing. They smiled, stepped inside, and ordered something, just to meet the boy who believed the shop smelled happy. By the end of the week, Keller's bakery was alive again. And Mrs. Keller hung Leo's drawing on the wall with a note. "For the little boy who reminded me that sweetness still matters." Winter came early that year. Snowflakes fell over the river, quiet and heavy. But one morning, Leo didn't show up by the bridge. He didn't wave at Mrs. Keller's window. He didn't feed the pigeons. Days passed. Then word spread. Leo had fallen sick with pneumonia. He was in the hospital, pale and weak, his small chest struggling to breathe. Mr. Harlan visited him every day, carrying small carved animals. Mrs. Keller sent loaves of warm bread. The postman left letters by his bed, each one saying, "Get well soon, Leo." The boy who once healed others now needed healing himself. And for the first time in years, the people of Graybridge came together. One night, the nurse found a folded paper under Leo's pillow. It was addressed to everyone in Graybridge.
It read,
I miss the bridge, the birds, and the smell of bread. Please don't be sad. I know I'll get better. But even if I don't stop being kind. The world feels warmer when we care. When the nurse showed the letter to the mayor, he cried quietly, something no one had ever seen before. He ordered the letter to be read aloud at the town square. People stood silently in the cold, listening, crying, holding hands. For the first time in decades, the sound of shared emotion filled the air. Leo had united them even from his hospital bed. Weeks later, spring sunlight touched the rooftops of Graybridge again. Birds returned to the fountain. And one bright morning, Leo finally opened his eyes fully, breathing easier. The whole town celebrated. When he returned home, every window had a small paper boat taped to it. On each one were words of hope, written by the people he'd touched. Mrs. Keller gave him a basket of his favorite cookies. Mr. Harlan lifted him up and said, The river missed its little sailor. Leo laughed, a sound so pure that even strangers stopped to listen. And that day, Graybridge began to heal completely. Months later, the mayor built a small fountain in the town square. At its center stood a statue of a boy holding a bird. The plaque read, In honor of Leo, who reminded us what it means to be human. Children played around it. Families met there after work. Every stranger who passed by found themselves smiling without even realizing it. The fountain became a symbol, not of grief, but of gratitude. 10 years passed. Graybridge had transformed, bright murals, community concerts, and neighbors who actually knew one another. Leo grew into a young man with the same warm heart. He became a writer, traveling to schools to share his story about kindness and connection. In one of his talks, he said, When I was little, I thought I was just smiling at people. I didn't know I was waking up hearts that had fallen asleep. The crowd went silent. Then, with a soft smile, he added, Humanity never dies. It just forgets itself for a while, until someone reminds it to feel again. In the front row sat Mr. Harlan, old and smiling proudly. Beside him, Mrs. Keller wiped tears from her eyes. After the event, Leo walked to the same bridge where it all began. The water flowed gently beneath. He set down a paper boat, whispered a prayer, and smiled. For every heart that needs to remember, keep floating. And as the paper boat drifted away under the sunset, the world seemed to breathe, softer, warmer, and a little more human. The world doesn't need more noise or speed. It needs more compassion. Sometimes, it takes a child's heart to remind us that kindness is not old-fashioned, it's timeless. Because humanity never disappears. It just waits for someone to care again. True humanity isn't measured by wealth or power, but by the warmth we bring to others. One act of kindness can awaken an entire world. For more inspirational, motivational, and educative stories, kindly subscribe to this channel.